Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? Back with another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Hasbro Marvel Legends Iron Spider. Now, you saw in the title it says one-shot review, which basically means I'm just going to record everything in one shot. So there's no editing, no transitions or jump cuts or anything like that. Reason being is so I can record the video and get it out sooner, y'all, to review, and also it just sharpens my skill as a reviewer. But without further ado, like we always do, let's get started with the box art first, which if you saw my recently reviewed Ned and Peter 2-pack, I get the initiative for going green, which I'm all for, but at least make the box art look aesthetically pleasing, because when comparing it to like the previous one with the plastic, it's not even in unison. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you're an inbox collector, no offense, you're kind of screwed, because not only do you not see the figure anymore, it's essentially a blind box, but it doesn't even go in scale with what the box looks like previously. So like even the height's different, and the box art's going to be different. Like one side of the box art I do like is like the comic version, and then the other side is essentially like the digital renders of the figure. And I think I mentioned this before in my Ned and Peter review. I don't really like this. It just looks like I mentioned, like you remember when people were doing those, this is what my Marvel Legends wave concept's going to be like template. This is what this looks like. I do like the comic style on the side here though, don't get me wrong. And then, oh, it looks like a box cutter went through this. You see the line going through, so that's not a piece of tape. Speaking of tape, the tape is intact. I made sure to look at it before I bought it, but that doesn't negate the fact that this could have bad QC issues when I open it up. Anyways, on the back of the box, you see Iron Spider in this pose right here, and he comes with two thwipping hands, which is pretty insane. That this thing was $31.99, I think, at Target, and for that price, and you're only giving us two additional hand sculpts, I'm already not really feeling it, but here's the thing. I was on the fence about picking up Iron Spider. I had the OG Spider-Man Origins one, so it was like right around the time Hasbro acquired the license. But I saw Brandon, aka Hero Collections, photos of it, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and pick it up. But yeah, let's go ahead and open this up. Let me get my X-Acto knife here. And let me know what you all think in the comments below about the new packaging. Are you a fan of it? Because I think at some point though they will improve on the box art and what to get, like what to actually put on there. I get it, they're in the early stages of it, but to me it just looks whack. Like if you're gonna transition to a plastic-free packaging and you can't see what's actually like in the figure, like in the box, at least improve the artwork on the box art. I mean, Hasbro does like to tout how look at this retro carded packaging, so that's why it factors in the higher price hikes. If that's the case, make the box art look nice. Alright, let's see. Let's see what's in the mystery blind box today. Alright, so thankfully... Okay, so that's neat. So the arms come detached from the figure itself. As I was wondering, I was like, what's this extra piece of cardboard? And let's go ahead and open this up. So these are the thwipping hands right here. We'll go ahead and open up the legs right here. Alright. This always looks funny to me, like, just looks like he's in a tomb or something like that. And I also picked up the Future Foundation Spidey at my Target yesterday at a different location, and I was like, I know I shouldn't have bought it, but I bought it out of curiosity to see how well or bad the paint apps are. And the stories are true. The paint apps on that Future Foundation Spider-Man were pretty bad on mine. But at first glance, it looks like this one came out pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a look. Any QC issues? No. It looks like you see the marbling on the plastic paint. But yeah, it looks like it's fun. I did see a photo circulating around that the top part of Iron Spider's suit was missing some paint applications. That was my fear. I'm like, damn. But yeah, overall looks good. Let's go ahead and attach the legs on there. And I don't think these are designated to one specific part. So I think you just go ahead and pop them on like that. Damn, that is tough, bro. Jesus. What the hell? All right, that goes like that. Attach this right there. And the last one. Now, this was originally unveiled earlier this year by the amazing, no pun intended, The Amazing. And his review is phenomenal. I remember seeing it though at first glance. I wasn't really feeling this figure, and the reason for that is because of what they chose to go with in terms of articulations for the torso. They chose to go for the ab crunch instead of the diaphragm cut, and they also went for the waist cut. Now, in this instance, the waist cut isn't that bad because it's not too noticeable when you turn it. But in some cases you've seen before, like that Fire Lore they just released, it's insane how it just, you could see this looks split in half. But that was one of the that was one of the major things that kind of detracted me away from this figure initially, was seeing that there was no diaphragm cut but an ab crunch. And to me, I think the ab crunch is a little outdated, and I wish they would just forego it and just do the diaphragm cut going forward. But everything else in terms of aesthetic of this figure looks pretty good. I mean, we're looking at pinless arms and pinless legs. I do like the marbling paint application on here. It looks really nice. And you saw me messing around with it. It looks like the legs are articulated, so it's pretty cool. So you can get in those signature Iron Spider poses. But damn, man, this thing is like... Yeah, so let's go ahead and... Jesus Christ. So there's one leg that just is a pain in the ass. It just keeps popping off. So I might have to heat this up later on and attach it on there, but... Yeah, I mean, aesthetics looks cool. I did have, like I said, the Spider-Man Origins one, and I remember picking that up during the pandemic, and that thing was like $2. I won it off an auction. But yeah, I don't like that ab crunch at all. Head sculpt looks great, though. I do like the head sculpt. I do like how they sculpted the actual Spider-Man logo on there, where they could have easily just painted it like they did with Spider-Man 2099. So that is some plus on here. I mean, the sculpting on here looks nice. Is it worth $30 though? I don't know about all that. But let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. So before I do that though, it looks like there are 2 points of articulation, or 3, I guess, if you want to include the back piece right here. So 1, 2, and 3, you can go ahead and move the legs around, but you don't really get that much range on them, honestly. I stand corrected. 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and curl this up and move this back so we can get them to stand properly. Now, I was reading somewhere online, some people were saying, why couldn't they have given him 4? I believe in the comics he only had 3, and he was given this suit during Civil War, and as you could tell, it was given the suit by Iron Man. And I'm just going to go ahead and place this down there and bring in some other figures for some comparisons. So first thing I want to compare him to is the Symbiote Suit Spider-Man, the retro-carded one, aka the Just J. Hernandez one, and the retro-carded Spider-Man, the normal one. Now, I don't have the Renew Your Vows or Amazing Fantasy, but I am looking to pick those up at some point. So he does scale pretty well with them. They're probably about the same height. But like I said, it just would have been cool to see this buck utilizing the diaphragm cut as opposed to the ab crunch. I'm just not a fan of the ab crunch. Let me know what you all think in the comments below. So that's the retro-carded Peter Parker Spider-Mans. And now we're going to take a look at a couple other Spider-Man figures. So here is the Game Reverse Miles Morales Spider-Man, which came out last year, which is easily one of the most underrated Spider-Man figures, I think. And the Ben Reilly Spider-Man right here. Now, this is one of the most underrated Spider-Man. The only flaw to it is that it does have the ab crunch instead of the diaphragm cut. But everything else with this figure was amazing because it came with 3 sets of hands, which should be the standard, whereas this only came with 2. And then same body buck as the retro-carded Spider-Man and the black symbiote suit Spider-Man. And then now we're going to do one more, Actually, two more. We have the Armored Spider-Man and the Spider-Man 2099, which was part of the retro carded wave. And this is what I was mentioning. They could have easily just painted the Spider-Man logo emblem like this, but instead they sculpted it. So I give them credit in that perspective because this still looks whack to me. I remember I did a poll on my Instagram. I said, which do y'all prefer, the Retro Legends one or the Mezco one? And I can't believe this actually got more votes than the Mezco one. And I don't have the MCU Iron Spider, but I have the basic figure one. So to compare, here is the MCU Iron Spider. This came out during the Infinity War one. It was the Hero Vision one with the stones, and then they re-released it again in Endgame. But yeah, as you can see, MCU version had the 4 legs, whereas this one has the 4 arms, and then this one had 3 in the comic version. So there was a lot of similarities when they first came out, when they first revealed the suit. But which do you prefer, the MCU version or the comic book version? And in terms of articulation, it's your typical Hasbro Marvel Legends articulation. So it can go from side to side. It does have the shoulder swivel and bicep swivel as well. And like I mentioned, pinless double jointed elbows, which that's pretty good range right there. The ab crunch, which don't really like that. And the waist cut, which I said I don't like, but in this case, it's not that bad. It's a little subtle. It's not as bad as I've seen before in other figures. Also has the thigh cut and double jointed pinless knees. And one thing I noticed with pinless figures now is, like, I don't know if it's just me, y'all, but I am reviewing the Bone Breaker Wave. A lot of the plastic being used now on these figures are insanely hard, so you have to, like, use a blow dryer or heat it up or use hot water. I don't know if I'm the only one having that problem. Let me know in the comments below if you are as well. But there's also ankle articulation and ankle pivot. And like I mentioned, the legs are also articulated, so you can move it from here, and then there is a hinge right here as well, and then at the top. So anyways, my overall thoughts on this figure is it's okay. It's weird saying that without the stupid spinning base, but it's okay. Is it worth the $31.99 price point? Hell no. There's a lot of improvements on this figure compared to the original Spider-Man Origins one, but that was over 10 years ago, so I'd imagine there'd be some technology engineering advancements, but this figure's okay. If you pick this up during the clearance Target had before this even dropped, kudos to you, because I think that was going for like $25. So is it worth it at the normal price point? Yeah, absolutely. I would imagine, though, anything Spider-Man related typically sell out. So if you're able to find one and you're a fan of this, if they're a fan of this suit, then yeah, go ahead and pick it up. And if you're a fan of Spider-Man in general, I also recommend picking them up. Because like I mentioned, Spider-Man figures typically tend to go for high price in the aftermarket. The only one I don't see going high price aftermarket is probably the Foundations one, the stealth suit version. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and comments below, YouTubers. What do you think about this figure? Will you be picking it up? I think it is still available for pre-order on Target's website, and it is starting to show up in stores. So go and be on the lookout for that. And let me know what you think about my one-shot review, if you like it or if you prefer the old format. But yeah, sound off in the comments below. And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.